Welcome to the first episode of the Honourable Truth, a podcast brought to you by Canterbury Boys High School in partnership with the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. Today we are joined by our principal, Ross Dummett, who is going to speak to us about choosing the right high school. So Ross, how are you?
Yeah, well, thank you, Nathan. Thanks for having me.
No, not a problem whatsoever. We're in March. Why are we talking about high school choices so early in the year?
Well, as you know, most high schools at this point in time are having their open days or open evenings or evenings where parents are coming on site and they're making that decision of where they want to send their children for high school.
So that open day is something you recommend parents go and check out?
Look, open day is a crucial event in that school calendar for selecting that right high school. It's by no means the only event you need to go to, but certainly it's a great indicator of the vibe of the school, what they prioritise, and a great strategy for parents to make the right decision.
So you said something there that I just want to talk about a little bit more, the vibe of a school. How would you describe a vibe of any school?
Well, it's a hard thing to sum up, but you certainly feel it when you first walk into the school grounds, what you're greeted by, the staff, the students, what they say, what they don't say, just the feel of the place. It really is that gut feel, and it is an element that needs to be considered. I've spoken to a lot of parents who have said when they walked into the grounds at Canterbury Boys High School, they just got a feel for the place and they knew it was the right decision. So certainly feel and vibe is really important.
And you said open day is one of many events or things that parents can be looking out for. What are a couple more?
Well, let me start by saying, and I'll circle back to that at the end or next, but two things I really want to get out. One, we've got great schools in the local area. Parents, families, students are blessed for choice in the Canterbury sort of area. The other thing is the best outcomes occur, and I will continually say this, and this is the best advice. If you take anything out of this podcast, best outcomes occur when the family, the parents, the students and staff work together. And during that journey, there's going to be ups and downs, but if we work together, we have open dialogue and we're all working towards the same goal, that's when the best outcomes occur.
An open dialogue, what does that look like at a school? What does that sound like? How would you describe that open dialogue?
Well, it's like any relationship. It's two-way sharing, isn't it? And it's not just the negative things. Since I've been here at Canterbury Boys, an example of that dialogue, we've challenged ourselves to be better in the space of positive phone calls. I can tell you, Nath, that when my children's primary school call, I assume it's one of two things: either they're sick or something's gone wrong. We're trying to change that narrative at Canterbury Boys, as a lot of high schools are doing, and we want to get positive phone calls out there. So we've got a process where we make positive phone calls just to share that good information with parents. I love to do it on a Friday afternoon before I go home, just to let parents know how well their sons are working. So it's that open dialogue, and from the parents' perspective, if there's things we need to know, if there's issues the children are facing, don't let it get to the point where it bubbles out of control. Just give us a heads up so we can work together to achieve the right outcome.
And that can be a phone call, an email, a text message through the school?
Absolutely. They're all the right pathways. Certainly during COVID, as a principal of the school, I was checking the emails that were coming in because there was a lot of concern out there. And just to get back to that parent straight away with the answer, or sometimes let me look into it and get back to you, is another example of that sort of those authentic relationships that need to be developed.
So that's for the best outcome for a student, is where those authentic relationships occur in the open dialogue. Going back to choosing a high school, I'm standing there at open day. How do I know that those authentic relationships are there?
It's a great question. And look, I'll give you advice. Like I'm at a barbecue, and I think that's the best way to do it. And people ask me, how do we choose a high school? Ring up the school. See how long it takes for the maths head teacher to get back to them or the principal to get back to them, because to me that's a barometer or guide of what they're going to be doing when the child's at school. Open days are great days, but it's certainly on show. We've all had friends around to our house for a barbecue when you put on a great show. Go and ask for a tour during the school day. Ask the principal, can I come for a meeting, and then go for a tour? See how open they are to those ideas. It's those impromptu visits and the vibe you get then that's just as important as well. And I go back to vibe again. It's an important component of it. You can't put your finger on it, but you get a feel for a place.
And those open tours, most schools are open to running that. I know we do them here at Canterbury Boys High School.
Look, I'm the president of the Port Jackson Network, which is the collection of secondary high schools in our local area. I can tell you that every school runs tours. Again, we're spoiled for choice in the area. Great principals, great leaders, great schools. And if you do that request, I don't know of a high school that wouldn't allow that.
Okay, so I'm putting my parent hat on here. I'm no longer a staff member. I've come to an open day. I've enjoyed the tour. what are my next sort of steps? What else do you think I should be doing?
Yeah, I think the next step under that, so you've got a vibe and you think, yeah, this is a good setting for my son or daughter, depending on, a co-ed or single sex. Then you'd start to be looking for the subtleties of a school. What extracurricular activities do they run? What's a focus at the school? What does my child need, and will the high school meet the needs and support that? The other factor is, what do you want to do after school? And can that school help my child get to that stage?
But they're going into year 7. How do I find that information out as a parent?
Well, as a parent, I suppose, again, I go back to those open dialogues, and it's about asking those questions. And my son might be interested in sciences. What's your science faculty like? What do you offer in stage 6? What's your electives look like? These are the sorts of questions parents can ask to get a feel. And again, depending on the answers and what you get told, and what sort of pathways in the university in the science fields, if that's what you want, they're the sorts of valuable answers you need to take on board.
Okay, so I'm a parent, I'm happy with my choice, I feel I've made it, I've asked the right questions, now what am I doing?
Well, that's the great question. So you do all this research, you think you've made the right decision, but then again, it's not an exact science. So you make the most informed decision you possibly can. Then there is 2 things that have to occur, and I go back to authentic relationships, working with the school.
Yeah.
Attend parent-teacher nights, be involved in the P&C. Work with your teachers, introduce yourself. If there's any issues, please let me know. And then, if there's bumps along the way, and there's going to be, as parents, Nathan, you and I are both parents, parenting isn't a seamless job. It's quite difficult.
Not at all.
Correct. And neither's teaching, or the school supporting a family to raise a young, boy or girl. So understanding as well that everyone is making the decisions that we think is in best for the child, and supporting the school as we support families in achieving that.
So the best for the child, sorry, I've lost my train of thought there,
Right.
but the best for the child was what you said, and something I wanted to drill down on. What if I feel like I'm not getting that as a school, as a parent?
Well, again,
is open dialogue, authentic relationships, making that phone call.
Correct, and working through those issues, because the worst thing that can happen in schools, whether it be from the school's point of view or the parents, is you let things get to the very last minute. You think, I've had enough, we've got to sort this out. And invariably, when you get to that stage as a principal, and I'm talking to parents, there is a lot of strategies we could have put in place prior to that to actually stop that from even getting to that level. And that's from both sides. So it's about that open dialogue. I can tell you at Canterbury Boys, staff are encouraged to make contact. If there's concerns, we call and say, look, we're just concerned. If there's positives, we open up that dialogue. But parents have that responsibility well. Authentic relationships are a two-way street. So certainly to me, I've got a daughter in year 6 right now, so I'm going through this stage, and I'm basically testing schools to see what they value, how responsive they are, and what they see as the role of the high school in supporting my wife and I in raising our children.
So as part of your journey as a parent now, not as so much as a principal, you've taken on your own advice and you've...
Absolutely, yeah. And I've done all the things that I suggest to people. This isn't rhetoric, it's what I believe, and it's really good advice. And again, knowing 2 things. Best outcomes occur when families get involved in the school and work with the school, and it's not an exact science.
And they're the 2 big takeaways you think that people listening should take away from it?
Absolutely. And again, just looking for the school that you feel, you think, you believe will meet the needs of your child. And if for some reason it doesn't work out as well as you want, work with the school. There isn't a teacher in New South Wales, Australia, the world, that goes into education because they don't love kids and want to help them out. So let's give everyone the information so we can do that. And the same with parents. I haven't met a parent who doesn't value education and want the very best for the child. You bring all those parties together, that's when the best outcomes occur.
That is brilliant advice, and I think advice that everyone listening needs to take on board and act on.
Yeah, and look, if you're ever concerned, ring the principal, ring the school, organise a meeting and hear from your local principal what they stand for, what they believe in, and what type of education your child's going to get at the local high school.
Because each school is different and unique.
Absolutely, and that's what makes our education system so important as well. If it was a cookie cutter type approach, there'd be some kids that miss out. So every school, every faculty, every classroom is just that little bit different. And can I say as well that that's what we're trying to get kids ready for? Sometimes my children come home and say, "Oh, gee, I don't like that teacher." That's okay, because we're going to come across people in our life, whether it be the workplace when they leave school, or a sporting team or an organisation where they mightn't like people. So that's a skill in itself as well. So that life journey, and we're certainly getting kids ready to be, active citizens in our community.
I think I've given my boys exactly the same piece of advice when they've come home and said, "Oh, I've had this teacher and she's known for this." Well, that's going to happen.
That's right, yeah.
So we're going back to our topic at hand, choosing the right high school. Is there anything else that you feel our listeners need to know?
Look, golden rule, best outcomes occur when parents, students and staff work together, visit the open day, organise a meeting, contact the school and get a sense of what it stands for. Again, walk through the gates. Don't believe what you hear in the car parks. Go into the school, get a vibe for the place. It's not an exact science, but make the best decision you can. And again, we're sport for choice in the local area.
Well and truly, it's a great place not only to teach, but it's a great place for kids to go to school.
I agree.
So if that's all you want to add, we'll wrap it up here, and I'll say thank you for joining us today on the Honourable Truth.
I really appreciate your time. Thank you, Nathan.
So we're now at the section of the podcast known as Around the Community. This is our chance to shine the spotlight back on the community around the Canterbury area and talk to some interesting people doing some great things in that area. Today we are joined by George Khalifa and Kane Maslow of the St George Dragons. So George, what's your role?
I'm the president of St George Dragons Rugby League Football Club.
And how long have you been doing that?
I've been doing that since 2004.
Wow, so that's 18 years if my maths is correct?
Yep.
Wow. Kane, what's your role at the club?
I'm just a voluntary at the club, and I also coach the under-14s St George Dragons Junior Rugby League Football Club.
And how long have you been doing the coaching role?
5 years, and ran the water for 3 years.
So being involved in junior sport, you gentlemen would know a lot about the benefits of junior sport and why it is great for boys and girls to be involved in a sport.
The benefits of being involved, the local community sport is you meet a lot of new people, right? You get to be active, right? Yep. And it's like you get a training Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's where you get set your levels and you keep yourself out of trouble. And you have more fun.
I really like that idea of meeting new people. I've got two boys myself. They're both involved in sport, and the friendships and those new people from just different areas of life that you wouldn't normally come across has been awesome. Yeah,
it is, because it gives you a good bond. Yeah, I mean, because it doesn't just stay just for that 1 year or 2 years. Like when you finish your career, like if you stop playing within 5 years, 10 years down the track, and you meet up in the local freaking area, like in the pub or something like that, you have a chat and you run into the bloke and...
You're still going to be reliving that under-10s game down at which park is it? Tempe?
Clempton Park.
Clempton Park. Yeah. When you ran away and scored that try that won you the game?
Oh, it always brings back good memories, bro. Always brings back good memories.
Mine, not so many tries that I ran away and scored. So, Kane, being involved in the coaching side of things, you'd be able to talk about some of the benefits for young people.
Yeah, the benefits for me is what they learn on the training paddock and take out onto the football field. So seeing them succeed is a big honour for me, coaching them, and just being an older role model for the kids. You know, some of them come from tough upbringings and not the best life at home, and I just like to be their mentor and guide them through life, kind of thing, for the real world.
That's awesome, and that idea that the lessons they're learning at junior sport do translate to the real world.
100%.
Yeah. So what are some of those ideas, like real hard work pays off and that
hard
sort of stuff?
Hard work pays off. Talent doesn't get you to play first grade. It's more your hard work, training hard and being a good person.
I mean, the three of us could name several people between us that had bucket loads of talent but didn't do the work.
Oh, I can name you a fair few.
I think with all your experience, you could name a few more than I could.
Some of them got caught up in bad past too, so wasn't always their fault. They just got caught up, and that's what the club's for, to keep them in line and give them a place to go to get their mind occupied.
Yeah, and that club being part of the community is really important for you guys down at St George Dragons.
Oh, it's all it is. It's always is, because kids always got to rely on people. You know what I mean, if they can't find it at home, they'll find some down there.
Yeah. So with parents and everything, sometimes there's barriers to playing sport. Rugby league in particular. One of the barriers just generally in junior sport and junior rugby league is the cost. So what sort of things do you guys do as a club to alleviate that?
Well, the cost is The help is from the government, with the what do you call it?
The
Active
voucher?
Kids.
The voucher, active
Active
voucher.
Kids. And that's $100?
$100.
Yep.
We don't charge anything further than that. Like which probably from nines and upwards, we just added $20 and $30. The highest will be $50 just for the shirts, shorts, and socks and the gear they get.
And that's for the older boys.
Yeah.
And boys and girls at St George Dragons?
Well, yeah, the girls do play. Yeah,
Yeah. Do you guys have a girls club?
we haven't got
girls
we haven't
team,
got a
sorry.
girls team yet. We are working on that, but girls do play with the boys. But
Yeah.
they stop at the age of 12, as we all know.
And then there's a real challenge. I'm involved in junior rugby league, and we've been trying to get a girls team in the under 14s, I think it is, for a couple of years. We've come close, but we're not quite there yet, unfortunately.
It is growing, but the girls' game is growing.
It's huge, and the women's season in the NRL has just kicked off,
Yep.
and they were very good quality games,
It
the three of
was.
them
Mate, you
over the
won't-
weekend.
Mate, you won't know. I've had about 5 girls come up and ask at our club if we've got any age groups for them.
Wow, that is.
Unfortunately, I had to send them down towards York, the St George district,
We are good for something, the St George.
because that's what we're saying to the Dragons.
And then, yeah, you guys are the Dragons. I'm a Dragons supporter. I coach in the Dragons district, so it's all good. What about players that have never played before? So they're worried about their skill and their experience. They're welcome at the junior level?
They're all welcome because there's different divisions in our comp. So you got Div 1, Div 2, Div 3. They'll trial all together, and then going off their potential, the club will provide them with a team that they're most suitable to.
Yep.
So we don't like to see kids getting injured and that, and we show them the right tackle techniques and about the game.
And that's a big one that some parents are worried about, is tackle technique. I know that I coach a lot younger than you. I'm with the 9s this year. Last year in 8s, it was over 50% of our training sessions with tackle techniques. When they're older, it's the same sort of thing.
Yeah, it is, because they always can improve on the tackle tech. Always improvement for tackle tech. Even with A graders, there's
Yeah.
always room for improvement.
Some first graders can
That's
improve their
exactly
tackle
right,
technique
yeah.
as well.
First graders can miss tackles, anyone can.
Yep. So really, my last sort of question to wrap it up, if parents are interested in finding out more information about Junior Rugby League, where can they find that?
Well, they could go on our St George Dragons page,
Yep.
right, and they'll get my number off there,
Okay.
right, and ask for George Cleaver, or come down to Clinton Park. We're
Yep.
located on Morfields Road, Kingsgrove.
Yep.
Right, come and ask for George Khalifa, that's me, I'm the president, and I'll direct them wherever they want, and I'll ask any questions. And
And it's Tuesdays and
Tuesdays and
Thursdays you're down there?
Thursdays, yeah, we do play on Saturdays, we don't play Sundays.
All divisions, eh?
Yeah.
That's, again, just a difference. I'm in the St George comp, and we've got Saturday and Sunday still going.
Oh, because you've got senior sides, I think the senior sides play on Sunday.
Yeah, even the 13-year-olds, but
Yeah, because you're a combined of
with
some-
Balmain and
Alakamba.
with all the other ones, yeah.
And we accept any race as well too.
Awesome.
We don't care who you are.
That's the beautiful thing about junior sport and rugby league, is that everyone's welcome regardless of anything. We'll put some of those links in the description of this episode.
And one last thing as well too, we don't accept bullying or anyone better than anyone else. We are a family club, and that's why I've been bringing up that club for a long time. And we treat everybody with respect.
That's awesome, and it's so great to hear from Junior Rugby League and from you guys. And as a club, what you do is excellent, and I just want to thank you for your time here this afternoon.
Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it for accepting us, and we appreciate Canterbury boys, and hopefully everything goes well for both parties.
And I will wish you luck for the season, but I won't wish you luck for the trial against Renown United.
We've still got to get past this weather, Nathan. Don't you worry about that.
Fingers crossed we can play each other at some point.
No problem, mate. If you don't play this year, we'll definitely play next year.
Sounds like a plan. Thanks again,
Thanks
guys.
again.
And we are now at our third and final segment of the Honourable Truth for episode 1, the Truth of the Matter, where we look at all things health and well-being. Today we are joined by Zoe Warwick, who is a student learning and support officer here at Canterbury Boys High School. She's also studying exercise and sports science at university. Welcome, Zoe.
Thanks for having me.
Not a problem. And I think the first thing that we are talking about is sleep. Why is that?
Yes, well, don't we love sleep? We're really talking about sleep and how it can affect the boys coming to school and everyone in their everyday life. It's shown that the risk of depression increases with age throughout adolescence, and especially for those with short sleep duration or poor sleep quality. It also research shows that sleep disturbances among adolescents can affect their ability to regulate their emotions and increase their risk of anxiety. And throughout school, this could be hard for some. During these periods where we're in school holidays or it's on a weekend, adolescents tend to lose their routine of going to bed early, waking up early, and it affects their ability to reach their potential through school days. They're feeling tired, they're losing their concentration, and this is all because they're not getting enough sleep.
Not getting enough sleep or that poor sleep quality. So can I just ask you, without any notice, this question, what is poor sleep quality?
So it could be going to bed late, waking up early, having disturbances throughout your sleep. It's just that, so if you're going to sleep and you're feeling like you're not in that deep sleep, you're waking up easily, that shows that your sleep quality isn't that good.
Yep.
And there is things that can help to optimise your sleep through incorporating a few things into good sleep hygiene.
And before we get into that idea of good sleep hygiene, that's really hard to say. I didn't realise that till right now. For our teenagers and for just people in general and young people, how many hours should we be sleeping a night?
So it's recommended hours for school-age kids aged between 13 and 6 and 13 years is about 9 to 11 hours. Teenagers from 14 to 17 years, about 8 to 10 hours. And young adults of 18 to 25 years, 7 to 9 hours. So it shows that adolescents have the tendency towards later sleep timing, being they're inclined to go to bed later and sleep in. And this is what occurs, like I said, on weekends and during school holidays, and it can affect this recommendation for the adequate sleep.
That 8 to 10 hours is a lot, but it's crazy that their boys need that much, but that's what the research shows.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've been talking about weekends and school holidays. Is something that can work a routine? Can that help with sleep patterns and overall well-being?
Routine, can have a massive help with optimising your sleep patterns and an individual's well-being. They're a massive factor throughout the school term and also over the holiday period in the lead up to school starting back. A little routine like going to bed at a decent time and getting up early prepares individuals for school and for work hours and provides them with more energy and concentration throughout the day. I know professional athletes base their whole lives on routine and schedule. I saw a recent quote that said, it might take you 30 days to create a habit and routine, but that habit could change your life for the next 30 years.
So only 30 days and then suddenly you're seeing these investments, not in a couple of days' time, but 30, 25 years, 15 years down the track. I like that quote as well. So our boys are trying to get into this routine. How do they optimise their sleep?
Through, like what I said before, the good sleep hygiene, it involves a regular bedtime and wake-up time. So introducing that routine of going to bed at a certain time, waking up at a certain time. And relaxing before bed is the biggest thing, like limiting your caffeine and technology before bed and having a comfortable sleep environment. That's the main factors. Research has showed that if a teenager stops using their phone 1 hour before bed, they gain 1 hour and 45 minutes extra sleep over a school week, which is massive. They might not think it, but it's huge. Also, by incorporating relaxation and mindfulness before falling asleep, for example, mindfulness sessions involving breathing, focus, guided meditation, muscle relaxation, and listening to classical music or hypnosis will really relax their mindset before falling asleep.
Can I just ask a couple of things about those last couple of ideas?
Yep.
So guided meditation, if someone's never done that before, where do they start and where do they look for info on that?
So there's heaps of apps on your phone. There's one called Insight Timer. It has a range of meditation. It can be guided or it can just be like the sounds and music and stuff like that. There's also Smiling Mind, which is a really great one for, meditation. It could be a range of things, sleep, anxiety, stress. Yep. Yeah, there's heaps of, everywhere. Insight Time is massive for it, and
Okay.
if you just get on the app, then there's heaps that you can access.
And muscle relaxation you mentioned. What does that involve for
So
our
this
students?
could quite literally be doing your meditation, and when they go through your meditation, they just kind of get you to lay in your bed, really focus on your breathing. It all incorporates together. So it's
Okay.
your breathing, the meditation, someone talking you through it, and it just really relaxes your muscles, because if you're really tense, you're going to struggle to fall asleep. So you really need to focus on that relaxation.
I'll just ask if there's anything you really want to add in regards to sleep, or any sort of hints or the main takeaways that parents or students listening can take away from this discussion.
I think a massive thing is for young kids during school, technology is probably the most important thing. Limiting that before you're going to sleep and focusing on that relaxation method of meditation, or even if it's not, you don't want to listen to a meditation, doing like breath work. So really deep breaths in, really deep breaths out to just relax your mind and your body. And then other than that, just getting that adequate sleep for everyone. It really benefits your whole day. If you're having a good sleep, you're waking up feeling great, you're just ready for the day.
Ready for the day, regardless if it is a school day or a weekend. You're ready
exactly.
for whatever is coming your way. So thank you for coming in today.
Thank you for having me. It was
not
great.
a problem. And that actually wraps up the episode 1, of the first ever episode of the Honourable Truth. I will get better at saying that the more of these I do. Thank you for listening today, guys, and have a wonderful week.